Welcome to Wrestling with Success, the best and only podcast for the wrestlers of tomorrow. Please welcome your host, Nigel? Oh, right. Your host and future champion, Neil McMillan.
Yeah.
So, guys and girls and wrestling fans worldwide, welcome to episode 14 of the Wrestling with Success podcast. This episode, I have my very first tag team on the show. These guys have had 16 years in the wrestling business. They've wrestled for such promotions as Dropkicks, NWA UK, Pro Wrestling Dynamite, Suplex Wrestling, WrestleForce, Best of British Wrestling, and BECW. These guys were named after William Wallace's fighting fists. On one hand, you have former Cruiserweight Champion, BBW Heavyweight Champion, and NWA UK Four Nations Champion, Gary Docherty. The other hand, you have former Cruiserweight Champion, BBW Heavyweight Champion, Stephen Docherty. Collectively, they have won the Dropkixx Tag Team titles a record-setting 5 times. These guys bleed iron brew. They can both be found teaching and training at Dropkicks on a Sunday. They are two Dropkicks legends. Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you Gary Docherty, Stephen Docherty, the Flying Scotsmen. Gary, Stephen, how are you?
Well, that was
quite an introduction.
That was a very long introduction, yeah.
I'm blown. That's me done for the rest of the show.
We speak to us like that. Yeah.
Well, guys, I was hoping that one of you was going to have a deeper voice, one of you was going to have a squeaky voice, because two people on the show now have got to try and tell which one's which.
I can do the squeak. I'm Stephen talking right now. We can always just say him talking before we talk.
Well, guys, so first things off the bat, let's clear things straight up. The Flying Scotsmen, I've met you both, we can hear your voices. I don't want to ruin things for people, but you're both English.
No, we're not.
Are you not? Is it just...
No, obviously the English accent comes from because we've lived in England most of our lives. We were actually born in Scotland, in Fife in Scotland.
Oh,
all
yes.
of us Scottish. But yeah, sorry to disappoint, we're not English.
No, I thought you were like myself. See, all my family's Scottish, but I'm the only English one. But you're actually better than me. You're more Scottish than me.
Lewis, something we should say is if we do turn around and talk to each other at one point during this podcast, you'll hear the Scottish accent come out. So just to warn you now, it will be a mix.
No, I like it. I'm native in the tongue, so it's all good to me. So my family are from Falkirk. So I know Falkirk, Edinburgh, Stirling, anything around that. Apart from that, yeah, that's as much as I know. So I mean, this is very different because not only you're a tag team, but you're the first brothers on the show as well.
Okay.
So it's good going. So
getting the other brothers on the tag team.
Yeah.
So how did you guys get into wrestling? Where did it all start for you both?
Cool. Well, we've always been into wrestling from the late 80s to early 90s time. Obviously, we were massive fans of Hulk Hogan. It was just that I think the reason we stopped watching wrestling, it had to be around King of Ring 93, Hogan versus Yokozuna.
Yeah.
That's because Hogan got beat.
Because Hogan got beat. And we
stopped watching.
We lost respect for wrestling once Hulk Hogan lost the championship from what we do. And we didn't really get back into it about 98. So, yeah, start the Attitude Era. So, yeah, Over the Edge, I think, was the first pay-per-view we saw. Stone Cold versus Duke Love. And, yeah, so since then it's been always loving wrestling. And
so recently, they don't really watch WWE anymore.
Yeah, well, I watch the WrestleManias and SummerSlams and stuff, but not, it's more into doing it than watching it now.
Yeah, not the week in, week in stuff. So, I mean, was it two brothers just kind of scrapping around in a living room together, or?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so pretty much how it started.
We used to wear the old plastic bag as a vest.
Yeah, so we can rip
the plastic bag off thinking we're Hulk Hogan. And because we both want to be Hulk Hogan, we're pretty much both Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
So we didn't want to get lose either, did we?
No.
Yeah, that's how it started. Pretty much. I love wrestling, ripping plastic bags at ourselves.
So where did you start your actual training from, like professionally, outside of the outside the living room?
FWA, wasn't it?
Yeah. So, well, core has to be 17 years ago, probably. Really, FWA. I'd done a wrestling school in London. It was trained by Alex Shane, who was one of the lead wrestlers there, and so we were going there. That was every Sunday as well, I believe, and we're just doing that for a year, and then that closed down. And then we had
found Dropkicks.
Just found Dropkicks like a couple of months afterwards, and that was run at the time by Frank Reimer and Tony Scarlo. So this is way back. Maybe you've only heard this when Lucas was speaking about those names, but so it was way back then. So
and you actually started before me.
And I started probably about a month or two before Stephen did at Dropkicks. Because at the time Stephen had broken wrists.
Oh wow!
So it was in casts.
Had nothing to do with wrestling, just to let you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, was the plan always to become a tag team, or were you both interested in being your own individual characters? Did you soon realise you both couldn't be Hulk Hogan?
Yeah, no, well, we're still trying to both be Hulk Hogan. But I think we made a pact very long ago. Was we were never to fight each other until we won the tag team championships, I think. I'm sure we made a stupid pact like that. Clearly it didn't last that long, but I remember making some sort of pact like that until we never to fight each other until we won it was the WWF tag team championships at the time.
Yeah.
So, still haven't fought yet, of course.
No, I think it is. It was just that no one ever really become tag teams. Whenever you joined wrestling, there was always single wrestlers. I think we was only in mind that we really want to be a tag team. Mainly because we grew up together, being a twin, which would do everything together. You're the same age, you go to school at the same time. I mean, it is pretty much your best friend you're with 24/7.
Wear the same clothes.
Yeah. So I think it was just always be a tag team. I don't think we ever looked at doing. Every now and again, thought about doing.
I just like to dabble, but it's
always
more
just go back to a tag team.
I mean, what were the things that you both struggled with in training then? Is there anything that was a bit of a shock to you from coming from the living rooms and the gardens to actually trying to train properly?
I think the shock was actually learning chain wrestling. Because when we used to fight in the back gardens and
the front rooms
and stuff, it was all the choke slams, rock bottoms.
Yeah.
Or what it called back in the day of backyard wrestling. That's what we used to dabble in before we actually started training professionally, should I say. And then it was sort of learning the basics of it, which we'd never learned before. And it's that sort of respect of learning the basics and the whole old British style that I think we still try and put into our wrestling today.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I've noticed from taking a session from you both, one from you, Stephen, I noticed there was that you had that calmness in the ring, you had ability to call an audible in the ring and just kind of think on your feet there and then in the ring. And Gary, your session had me walking like I had a centre block between my legs after your fitness session. But I mean, what I noticed about both of you was your ability and skill set in terms of the chain wrestling. And I mean, what can you give to our listeners who are struggling with chain wrestling and kind of define chain wrestling to some listeners and some trainees that don't even know what it is?
Well, chain wrestling was also known as catch as catch can wrestling. It was pretty much transitioning one move to another with as many transitions as possible. Because old British style wrestling was if you lost contact with the other wrestler, you had to start again because they tried to make it as realistic as possible. It was like boxing. It's like, when they tie up, they separate them to get them back going at it again. And that's what choke. So even if you've done a move and you let go of the person to go for a pin, the pin wouldn't count. You'd have to get up, start again. And I think chain wrestling is pretty much what we call. It's kind of what you tend to do as you get older as well, because
bumps hurt.
Bumps hurt, and chain wrestling, you get a time to breathe and a time to think, and that's what a lot of people don't do anymore. I think is they try and put in as many moves as possible as they can. And I'll get knackered after 5 minutes, so I've got to take that breather and that little thinking time. And I think that's what chain wrestling does give you. And it is something that's slowly disappearing, I think. from today's wrestling.
So, I mean, how would you suggest our trainees look to improve on chain wrestling? Like, because I'd definitely say that's probably one of my weaknesses in my locker is the fact of it. And I like the idea, guys. I like the idea of being able to catch a breather. I'm right there with you. I don't run it like running around and flying, all these kids doing flips and stuff. I'm quite happy just laying down with a move on the mat for a little while.
Yeah, it is pretty much. I mean, if you YouTube is probably the best thing. I mean, look at the old British wrestlers. I mean, even one of the I suppose one of the guys that run Dropkicks at the time, John Ritchie. Even to look at him at LDN, him against Sheamus.
Yeah,
Sheamus's last ever match in the UK. I can't remember what it was called back in the UK days. But even if you looked up John Ritchie against him for LDN, and it was just a Yorgos Christopoulos look against him. Yeah. But even look at the old British style wrestling, like the old World of Sport stuff. Seeing someone out on you, I mean, YouTube's available to everyone, and I think YouTube's a brilliant thing because you can look at all these old time wrestlers, and the British style was.
Yeah. It was because I think the best way to learn it, I think, is to do kind of a shoot type wrestling.
Yeah,
because you keep hold of the holds and you learn to like how to grab a wrist and look for a leg lock and stuff like that. So I think it's all based on kind of shoot wrestling in a way. I think like John Ritchie, the old promoter, his dad John Hall was amazing at it. You'll literally be practicing at one point, and then he'll say, "I need a body, come here," and he'll literally show someone, and he'll grab your wrist, and it literally was breaking your wrist. And he goes, "Can you feel that?" And there's you tears on the floor saying, "Yes, I can." And that's what it's all about, because it's, you know, chain wrestling, it's real moves but done in a way so, you know, it's predetermined.
Yeah, it's done in a way to respect your opponent, but it makes it look as realistic as possible. That's what the idea. Chain wrestling is. It's pretty much moves that if someone's not selling,
you can make them sell.
You can make them sell it. That sort of thing.
Yeah, just that little tweak, just that little extra pressure, I suppose. Yeah.
Everything you can do is a realistic move. They are all realistic moves, and it's all just taken from there. So it's taken from the sort of amateur style wrestling and moved into the professional form.
Okay, so I mean, how long was it you were in training for until you got told about they want you to debut on your very first show?
So it's a lot longer than what people are luckily getting away with.
Yeah,
these
there
days.
was a few times told to get ready for a match. I say a year into our training to get ready, we're on a match, and obviously that got cancelled, and then we got told to get ready for a match again, got cancelled. But all in all, I'd say it was roughly about 3 years.
Yeah, 3 to 3.5 years before we actually stepped foot in the ring, which was probably, in a way, the best for us. As though maybe we thought we were ready, we might not have actually been ready.
Yeah, and I think it did prove that when we finally did get in the ring, we were ready, because our first match, which, funny enough, is it was in the Isle of Sheppey, and we spoke to the people that we were supposed to be fighting. I was supposed to be fighting Liam, I think he's known as the Mexican Eagle now.
Yeah.
You were supposed to be against, my brother was supposed to be against Robbie Williams.
Someone
not the Robbie Williams, but Robbie Williams.
Was it a tribute, was he meant to be a tribute to Robbie Williams, or was it just an unfortunate name?
Yeah. But yeah, then I walked out to the ring, my music and stuff like that, and then the wrong music played for the guy I was supposed to be wrestling. So Robbie Williams walked out, who my brother was supposed to be wrestling. So we'd have just come up to the match on the fly.
Oh, nice.
And it worked, because I'd spent time training it. And I'm saying if I went in any earlier, would I have been ready to come up with a match completely on the fly? I don't know. So, and that's what I think is good with chain wrestling, because it gives you that time to think, going, crap, what do I do now?
Yeah.
I'll do this now. Yeah, I'll just go for it. No.
So you've got your hold, and you can whisper in your opponent's ear. That's something big to come up next, really.
Yeah. And what I've noticed about both of you, you wrestling as well, you both wrestle in kilts. What's that like?
No, we don't wrestle in kilts anymore.
No.
I think more the kilts. When we first started wearing it, was wearing actual proper kilts.
Yeah, which is not the ideal wrestling.
No, they're heavy as well. They're heavy.
Yeah, they're quite heavy.
Yeah. The Elite Fox did not look good in there.
And then we bought, I think it was just like fancy dress kilts that you buy from fancy dress shop. They were a lot better, but again, it was just that little things that just sort of got in your way, like because we used to like doing the Hurricane Ranas and some sort of high flying stuff tend to slow down a little bit on that now because we're getting older. But yeah, then we just sort of got rid of them altogether.
I think the whole reason behind the kilt was we bought wrestling gear. We bought wrestling shorts, and within the couple of days of buying it, my mum washed them.
And one of them come out,
and one of them come out like a lot darker than the other. So we had to quickly improvise, and then we went and got kilts. And then the kilts just stayed for a long time.
Yeah, but no, we don't wrestle in kilts anymore.
No, good. Were you going commando on there? Were you being a true Scotsman or?
No.
Unfortunately, we've been a bit of a family show. It's not something you want to see.
So, I mean, now being at trainers at Dropkicks, I mean, you're legends there. I mean, you've been around wrestling for so long as well. What are the main areas you see people training now? Where do you see them slip up the most?
Footwork, and I think rushing is the main thing.
Yeah, just ring positioning,
rushing it,
and high spots. People love their high spots now. I've not got a problem with high spots, because I know, like, obviously you got Will Ospreay, who's done amazingly well on doing high spots. But there's a lot of people who just want to get the high spots in. And obviously I'm now with the old mentality of wrestling. I just wanted to tell a story. You need to build up to that high spot. So it's one of those. There's so many spot fests now.
And I think that's where it comes. That's where the rushing comes in. So people want to go, well, I want to do that, and then I want to do this, and I want to do that, and I want to do that. And sometimes you can see it might start off quite fast, but then just to slow, obviously, because they're starting to get a bit tired and a bit knackered. And then it starts to look a little bit sloppy. I think sometimes you just got to think, just calm down a little bit. Just take your time, and it will just look just as fast. If you just take your time that little bit, take that breather, and it will look just as probably even smoother.
Okay, I mean, is there any other main tips that you would give to trainees nowadays, or people who are just starting to think about going to their first wrestling session at all?
That's a good question, ain't it?
No, just if anyone's going to the first wrestling session, it's just literally keep your ears open, listen to
everyone, take advice on. Everyone's got that bit of advice they can give you, and I'll take in as much information as possible. I say, me and my brother will always give you advice. You'll get other people giving you advice. I'm saying because even if you, some of the guys now, some of the really good high flyers now. I'd always say work on your wrestling first before you think about your characters.
Don't worry about character. Work on your very basics. Even if your first match is your Bob from Basildon, if that's you for your first match, just get that out there, get your wrestling in, and then start developing your persona after that.
Okay, good. I mean, Gary as well. I know you're a personal trainer. What kind of fitness tips would you give to trainees then?
So, fitness tips I would literally just give to trainees is, first of all, just try and get yourself a little bit fitter, because depending on what age you are or what you're doing, because people sometimes, if they're starting this, they come up to the GCSE year, or they're just starting their first job, so they might not have time to, hit the gym and stuff like that. But just, especially for the younger guys, is just do a nice little bit of cardio, so jog around the block 2 or 3 times, and then start with your body weight. So just press ups, sit ups, squats, just to get your basics, and that will slowly build your body up straight away, and you'll feel yourself getting that bit fitter just from the basics of fitness. So just jogging around the block.
I'd say cardio is always a good thing to get used to in wrestling.
Yeah, because
you wouldn't believe how quickly that 10 minutes you start breathing, trying to get that extra bit of oxygen in. But yeah, I said the best thing. I said any new guy trying to sort of start and worrying about it, I said you haven't got to try and straight away and try and think I've got to hit the gym, I've got to do this. A little jog around the park, body weights, press ups, sit ups. I mean, you just using your body to do squats and everything like that.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you get your time and get a gym membership, start going to that gym. I mean, I'm probably not one of the best people to ask about that. But I'd say.
Well, I mean, just in the training sessions alone, I mean, just in the week in, week out of going to the training sessions, I mean, I go to the gym as well, but the training session alone, they give you enough. I mean, the first couple of weeks, you feel like you've been hit by a bus afterwards, but then your muscles develop and you get used to it. And then you have a Gary Docherty session, and all of a sudden the whole whole different load of muscles get used, and you feel like you're hit by a bus again.
Yeah.
I missed that one.
Yeah. No, but I feel like, because whenever I take a session, anyway, obviously because it's my job, obviously in the fitness side, it's always to try and make you work a little bit harder. But obviously, I try and get you guys kind of involved, so you're causing your own pain, not me. So you can't take it out on me.
You can't
can't blame me for it. Like, say, I'll ask you what your favourite exercise is. Okay, cool. How many do you want? Pick a number between here and here, and then you've picked it. So don't blame me if it's hurting.
Smart, very smart. So, 5-time tag team champs. Can you remember your very first tag team title win?
Yes. Was it Dagenham, wasn't it?
Yeah, Dagenham.
Yeah.
Against John Ritchie
and Kevin Sargent Anthony.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Sergeant Kevin Anthony.
Sergeant Kevin Anthony, yeah. So obviously John Ritchie, who was running Dropkicks at the time, and Sergeant Kevin Anthony, I'm not sure what he's doing now.
He's into.
He went into MMA and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, our first, I would say it was kind of like our home turf at the time, Dagenham, for some reason. But in the papers, Flying Scotsmen from Dagenham. It was in a local paper there.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, no, but that was the first time match. I'm not sure it was one of the best
one of the
matches.
biggest venues, I think.
Yeah.
Well, not the biggest venue, but the biggest audience. I think one of the.
Yeah.
We had people standing
outside.
Because there weren't enough seats.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, we've not been able to recreate that.
No. Which is very unfortunate. But
yeah, no, it was I finished it, I think, with a shooting star. I wish.
Yeah.
Sunset flip from the top right, as I think was the winning move of the match.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I remember because we felt like world champions at that time. That was yeah.
Good. I mean, so what was your probably favourite tag teams that you've ever faced? Is there any key ones that stand out for you both?
I think I have to say they're really good mates of mine, and probably everyone listening to this podcast probably already knows what I'm going to say anyway. But it'll be HXL, Laser Lagden and Heartbreaker Brad Beck.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, I just love wrestling them guys. Absolutely love it.
Well, yeah, they're very good friends, so it's one of those we can go in and obviously not talk about anything, and we can put up I think sometimes a good match, sometimes a very good match. But I don't think we do it just an okay match.
I don't think we've ever had a bad match.
Another tag team, I would, some people really didn't like him at the time, but Team Perfection was one of my favourite guys I faced. These were guys who looked very, very good. They were both 6 foot tall, muscles everywhere. But their main problem was they were very green. But I think me and Stephen I don't think we had a bad match against them.
No.
I mean, we got on with them really well. Really enjoyed wrestling them. But I mean, put them two as our real favourite tag matches that tag teams we've really been against.
Yeah, tips. What would be tips for people who are looking to become a tag team now? I mean, I don't know if it's probably been a lot easier with you guys having that kind of brotherly twin connection as well. But I mean, what advice would you give to tag teams coming up the ranks, trying to work on their chemistry together?
So if you're coming up together, that chemistry thing, act like they are your brother. So if he's getting beat up in the ring, you're almost in tears because you're trying to get to him. It's one of those, so you've got to love. I'm doing quote marks there. You can't say. You can't say. But you've got.
We heard them, Gary. We heard them.
Yeah, you've got to kind of love your partner, and you've got a bit. So the chemistry you need is obviously someone who's. It's easy for us because we're twin brothers, so we're pretty close as it is. But you need to kind of have that kind of chemistry that you are brothers. You respect that guy in the ring, so when he's getting beaten up, it's killing you inside.
I think even if you look at some of the tag team, the big tag teams in the past few years, they've either been very good friends, Edge and Christian, brothers, LOD, the Hardy Boys, LOD, really good. I mean, people that have grown up together tend to be just very good. Someone that you can trust.
Yeah.
Because if something's going wrong, it's one, you can trust that person to just sort of one, help you out. If you're dying in that ring, you can get someone to help you out. But no, like I said, it helps if you've got a really good friend with you, or if you get on really well with someone, it can become a good friend. Because let's face it, if you're a tag team, you are spending a lot of time together.
Have that relationship outside the ring will really help you inside the ring.
What did the parents of the Dochertys think when both their sons wanted to to join wrestling? Were they happy about that or apprehensive at first?
Oh, well, they knew we'd done it, obviously, because we've been fans of it for years.
Yeah. They used to come home.
Even my grandparents used to send us videos when we didn't have Sky. Yeah, videos, VHS, for anyone that doesn't know what that is.
Yeah.
Send us VHS, videos of Sky. So they always knew that we loved it. When we started, my mum has only ever been to watch one of our matches. Because even though we're coming up from, I would like to say 21 again, but we're coming up for 32 years old, my mum is still worried about us hurting ourselves in the ring. So that's why she never comes to watch it.
Our dad will literally come try and get as much as he can. But the one thing he hates is if we go against each other.
So, have you ever wrestled in Scotland? Back on the home turf?
No, it's been on the cards, but just never ever happened.
Yeah, it's been a couple of times almost there. I mean, we've done Wales, which is getting a bit closer to it. But
and then turn off.
And then turn off. But, I mean, never in Scotland. A couple of times, like we said, but it's just never actually happened yet.
Oh, wow. It's got to be a dream, though. It's got to be a dream. Definitely up there. Edinburgh Festival, I can see it now. What's your theme song? Is it Run Rig?
It is Run Rig, yeah.
It is Run Rig. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So no one else will probably know what Run Rig is unless you're Scottish. I don't think anyone else knows.
Yeah.
My favourite of Run Rig is Loch Lomond.
Yeah, everybody's favourite is Loch Lomond, really, yeah.
Oh, that's incredible. That's incredible. So what made you decide on that theme song anyway?
Oh, it's basically my dad, obviously, being Scottish, loves Run Rig.
Yeah, listen to it in his car.
Oh, yeah, just listen to it in his car. We just heard the song Sky. And it's like, okay, that's really upbeat. It's obviously there's a bit of Gaelic in it as well.
Yeah.
So, but it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah, I ain't got a clue what they're saying in that song.
Yeah.
It sounds good.
It's just a really upbeat song. Like, nice drums at the beginning, a bit of guitar. It's kind of where we listen to anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like, this goes with us. We'll pick that.
So, I mean, boom, there it is. So now, Gary, Stephen, the Dochertys, it's fan time. Okay. Now, these are quick fire questions about you as wrestling fans. What is your favourite ever tag team? Quick fire.
Favourite tag team, Legion of Doom.
Legion of Doom.
Yeah.
Is that a shared answer?
New Age Outlaws. Okay.
There's a divide in the Flying Scotsmen. Best tag team finishing move.
Whoa, can't think.
Dudley Death Drop. It's got to be.
What's that one?
Dudley Death Drop. Do you know? Picks them up. Once it's ropes.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
3D, isn't it?
3D. Yeah, Dudley Death Drop. That's what 3D stands.
No, you're right. What is the most underappreciated wrestling move?
Underappreciated today.
Underappreciated.
Got to be the DDT.
Yeah.
DDT, solid answer.
DDT should be a finishing move. Your head's going straight on a mat, and everybody kicks out a 1 or 2 on a DDT.
Good one. It's a good one. Favourite match for Wrestling 101, where you can watch it and you can just take every note. It's got a bit of everything in it.
It'll probably be when the Hardy Boys wrestled each other.
So
for me, yeah, because it had a bit of mixture of everything, and they got hated and slated for that for their first match ever wrestled against each other. But I loved it.
Which one was the first one? I remember a WrestleMania one.
I think
was that the first one?
I can't. To be honest, I really can't remember. But another one did enter my head, but it's just sort of disappeared now. Because anything with Ric Flair,
yeah,
anything with Ric Flair,
or obviously
or Shawn Michaels,
WrestleMania 3, Macho Man against Steamboat.
Yeah,
that is just amazing.
Yeah, no, I like that. It's just because I mentioned in my previous episode, Steamboat and his face. It just he looks like he's on the brink of death.
Yeah,
and everyone's just cheering him on, and then right at the end. No, that's definitely. I would recommend that one as well. Okay, what's next for the Flying Scotsmen then?
Hopefully, I think just trying to get a bit more. Trying to put ourselves out there a bit more now, I think. Trying to make ourselves a bit more broader. getting old now, so seeing how much longer we can do this for now before
the body finally gives up.
Yeah, because I'm definitely starting to feel it the next day after a show now. But yeah, I think just trying to see what else we can do with it. I think just trying to see if we can open up a bit more avenues for ourselves.
Yeah, maybe wrestling in Scotland.
Yeah, maybe wrestling in Scotland finally.
Yeah.
No, I like the idea of that. I mean, that for me is a personal one, let alone you guys being fully fledged Scottish as well. So, I mean, how can listeners keep up to date with you then? You got social media, is that right? You've got Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, you're all over it, aren't you?
Yeah, so we're all over it. On Facebook, I think you'll find us at Flying Scotsmen 27, I'm pretty sure. Twitter at Flying Scotsman 1 and Instagram at Flying Scotsmen 1 as well.
Yeah, everyone's
still Flying Scotsmen, so we've got to take it afterwards. No, we are Flying Scotsmen on Instagram, so just
Flying Scotsman on Facebook.
Yeah, so on Facebook at Flying Scotsman, Instagram at Flying Scotsman, and Twitter at Flying Scotsman 1.
Nice. So, I mean, any parting words for people? Any shout-outs?
Any shout-outs?
Well, obviously shout out to, really good friends that we made in wrestling, obviously Brad Beck and Gary Lagden.
Tony Kemp.
Yeah, Tony Kemp, Danny Wills.
Made a lot of friends out there. I mean, even the new guys in Dropkicks in a minute, get on really, really well with all of them.
Yeah.
I hope they said the same thing about us. No, I mean, it's great how Dropkicks has. I mean, I've made some great friends through Dropkicks that I keep in contact with now. So I always say, right, for them a lot in general, I think.
Yeah. Shout out to everyone at Dropkicks. There you go.
So that's an easy one. Right, well, Thank you, gentlemen. It's been an absolute pleasure. I appreciate you taking the time to sit down and do this podcast with me. It means a lot, and to share all your 16 years of knowledge. So, I mean, people currently
somebody.
Well, people currently training now, I'd urge you to pop down to one of the famous Docherty sessions. I personally have learned a lot from each of the sessions that I had from both of you guys, and look forward to many more going forward as well. And Gary, Stephen, thank you so much, and I appreciate your time.
No, thank you for having us.
Very much.
No problem at all. So, guys and girls, that is it from me this week, our very first tag team episode. Thank you for following my journey, listening to this show, and I look forward to wrestling a match with you all soon. And I'll speak to you all next week. Thank you again for listening, and people, I need your help. I would love it if you could pop over to iTunes to leave this podcast a review. Your reviews are so important to me. I need to understand what you think of the show, and it helps just raise awareness for everyone else on this show. And not only that, guys, if you have a friend or a relative who you know is an avid wrestling fan, please point them in this podcast's direction.